It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Pod from the Crypt podcast. This is Chris Guzzo, your host. I'm here with Rob Pasercia and Anthony Galzano. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, Anthony. Thank you for asking. I'm doing good. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite horror movies and one of my favorite horror reboots, Halloween. Anthony, before I go any further, could you show me the package of goodies you have in your lap right now? You pulled one up?
Sure thing.
Ooh, what's that?
This is Michael Myers, the new NECA figure from Halloween 2, the original.
We're going to kick this show off, and we're going to compare right off the bat from the 1978 version versus the 2007 version. The 2007 version, of course, made by Rob Zombie. Which one do you guys like better right off the bat? We'll start with Anthony.
All right. So what a lot of horror fans that I've realized over time that don't know is that John Carpenter actually created Halloween through actually a real backstory from like the 20s. It was this kid named Stanley Steers, and he got bullied a lot from his family, and he ended up like resenting them for doing it, and he pretty much became the character that was in the movie in Halloween, and pretty much like killed almost his whole family. And he ended up in the psychiatric ward. And John Carpenter knew all about this. The only thing I didn't like about the 1978 Halloween is that John Carpenter didn't really do that backstory, but Rob Zombie did with the kid, which I thought was executed amazingly, and it was very intense.
Nice. You guys know that it took Carpenter about 10 days to write the script? You know how crazy that is? Him and Deborah Hill, it took them 10 days to crank out the script. I mean, it's not the best dialogue in the world, and it probably doesn't have as much subtext as you would like, Rob, but it's a damn well good script.
It holds up for the most part. I mean, it's watching it today. I mean, I finished it right before I started talking and logged on. There are some things that are like a little dated about it compared to newer movies, but you know, the tension's like visceral. You can feel it. It's like in the room with you when you're watching that kind of film. So that's crazy that he only wrote that in 10 days. I got to agree with you, Ant. I like the original much more, but my favorite part about the new movie was the whole first half when it went into Mike Myers' backstory, you know. But by the same token, I think that was the problem with the new one, because it loses like its kind of supernatural element. Like Michael Myers is no longer this like supernatural killer because we like understand it. In the old one, we don't understand him at all. He's just evil, and that's kind of scary. It's more like mysterious.
Is he evil or is he supernatural? Because I feel like they didn't take on that supernatural take on him till at least probably the second movie. Definitely the fourth, and then they had the Curse of Michael Myers with the what is it called? The Mark of Thorn, right? Was what they the mythos for that. But the original movie, it's kind of like keeps it in the dark of there's no reason for this guy killing his sister to start off the movie, and then you see it's a kid.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, because you know we have a doctor telling us there's no explanation for this kid. He's just pure evil, like the devil's behind his eyes. So I don't really know that much about the later movies. I'd seen them a long time ago, so you guys can probably go into that whole backstory a lot more than I can. But, you know, being that he's, like, unexplainable by science, I kind of saw him as, like, this supernatural force. He was just this unstoppable killer. Then at the end, when they shoot him 6 times, he still can't die.
You know what I love about the original movie and what I don't like about movies today is that, like you were saying, the original movie, he has no real motive to it. And I feel like that really, like, puts, like, the fear into like somebody, it makes me as the viewer watch this and like it's unpredictable of what this guy's gonna do. So, of course, in a remake, they got. And by the way, I did just my take. I love the remake. It is one of my guilty pleasures, and I think that the original movie obviously is superior to the remake. But I do watch the remake way more times than the original. I hate to say it, but I do it. And I love the ultra violence in that movie. I love the cursing in the opening scene where he's they show that he comes from a white trash family. But like the reason why I'm saying that is because they kind of take away that mystery and they kind of explain the backstory, and it goes into more detail of the backstory of Michael Myers. Now, both of you have seen this movie. I just want to ask you, did that bother you in the remake to like kind of take away like the horror factor of that of the mysteriousness of this character of Michael Myers?
Well, yeah, Chris, I mean, I definitely agree with you with the whole mystery thing. I definitely feel like that definitely makes it more scary to not know why this is happening. But when I said like that I appreciated that Rob Zombie did the backstory is because he did it in such a sick way. Like that kid, how menacing he was, and like what he was like when he beat that kid up in the woods, and how he was like killing animals. Like that's how they say, like that's how you know your kid's gonna be a serial killer. He starts off with like little animals. Like I felt like he really dominated that.
Did you feel like that first kill? So the first time that they show Michael killing the bully, and I wasn't really sympathetic to Michael, of course, as the protagonist in the beginning. No, I wasn't. It just, I don't know if they were trying to go for it, but like right before that scene, I think they show that the mother gets pulled into the office, and he's been murdering and skinning animals. And he's talking. That's the first time his mother's talking to Dr. Loomis, who's played by Malcolm McDowell, which is a wonderful actor. But what I like about it is that, and it's a different type of horror because it's more like the camera stays on what's going on, and it's kind of like more dramatic horror instead of like jump scares. Even though Halloween 2007 had more jump scares, I feel like Rob Zombie really goes over and beyond when it comes to the graphic.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird because in the 2007 version, it's almost like Mike Myers is the main character, rather than like the antagonist. In the the 1978 version, it's definitely Jamie Lee Curtis is the main character. So kind of like it's almost a different genre of like horror.
That's interesting that you say it, because do you feel that Scott Taylor Compton in the 2007 remake was a worthy protagonist? She was supposed to be the protagonist to play Laurie. Do you think
I thought
she character?
She looked more like she was in high school. I did want to mention that. Definitely what was kind of funny about these older movies is the characters are always too old to be in high school. And in the new one, they actually looked like high school students. At least more than Jamie Lee Curtis, who like kind of dressed like she was going to work anyway, didn't her friends.
Let me ask you a question, Rob.
All right, go ahead.
You do a lot of writing, and you know that like with the protagonist, everybody wants somebody to have a fear and overcome it and go through the hero's journey and change as a character from the beginning of the movie to the end of the film. Do you really feel that way about Jamie Lee Curtis's character in the 1978 version? Because I've always felt like she gave enough without giving that hero's journey. So like when people say today that you need to have the characters, the wants, the needs of the character when you're writing a character, I always go back to that Halloween from 1978, and I think to myself, she's just a reactionary protagonist. She's just reacting to what is happening around her. And it still works for me.
Yeah, well, what's cool about the original is it just kind of drops you like right in the story. There's like no build up. Mike Myers murders his sister. He goes to a psychiatric ward, and then he escapes 2 scenes later, and he's an adult.
Which
fucking
is ridiculous, right? How does he drive? How does he drive the car if he's been in the psychiatric?
Well, I was thinking that they mentioned that in the movie. Like, the doctor is out there, and the cop is like, dude, he can't even drive. He can't get 150 miles away. And he's like, he drove great last night. someone taught him here, I guess. And he was all pissed off and shit. And he
Right.
left. So like that's in the movie. But that's like more to it. They don't explain anything. It's just scary. Like nothing makes sense about Mike Myers. He grew up in this nice home with these nice parents. His sister was super busty, which is awesome.
Would 1978's Halloween actually hold up today? And I mean, like, would they forgive it for not having the substance that they require for horror movies to have today? Like I was saying before, they want you to have the protagonist, and they want them to have a fear. And usually, the formula of Hollywood is that they want them to overcome the fear when they face the antagonist and what could scare them. It's very formulaic, and like it's weird and it's ironic because the 1978 Halloween set the stage for future horror movies. So before that, I'm sure there were movies about slashers, but that was the first one that was like riveting and shocking and mainstream. It was made for $320,000. They said that all the actors and actresses had to bring their own wardrobe to set because they had like so low budget. It was one of the first
really?
one of the first steady cams that they
funny.
used. I forgot the specific steady cam that they used, but they used it to save a lot of money and get all those shots that you see like Michael in the darkness following, or that stalker look from the camera work.
The frame is super shaky in it, but I think that works for the genre.
But I think it's done on purpose, that shaky camera. You know,
yeah.
It was a 20-day shoot. Now, you've been on film sets before. You have. I've worked with you. I know. You've done union and non-union. Could you tell the audience what a 20-day horror film shoot would be like? Crammed in?
God. Dude, it would be insane. I mean, you'd be dehydrated, you'd be overworked, you'd be angry.
The original Halloween is all about, so getting back to Halloween, it's all about 1978 one. It's all about tone. It's all about atmosphere. It is very little setup, and it's just execution. And the music is amazing in that movie. You know, that goes with the tone.
It's almost not a slasher film. It's like more of like a thriller mystery in a way. Because like this whole like Friday the 13th glory kill thing is just not in there. You know, he never puts a guy's head through a table saw or any shit like that.
Atmosphere was very important in horror back in the day. Like, you know, when you think about like people like Dario Argento, Mario Bava, like those movies are nothing but like, you know, atmosphere. It makes so much of the movie. Today, you could have very little atmosphere as long as you have like crazy kills and like, you know, intestines flying out, then that's all that matters these days.
I gotta tell you, as a gorehound, I love that intestine flying.
No, I love it too. Like I love
those exploitations. Those Dario Argento movies are amazing.
Yeah.
They don't show.
Like, I love a gore flick, but you know.
Yeah, Chris, what was your other question? You had one other than do you think it would hold up, Chris?
Do I think it would hold up today?
Yeah.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would get past the writers' room.
You don't think it would get past the writers' room? You don't think?
No, because like I said, it doesn't hit any of the beats or the notes that they're looking for in any of these movies or these television shows that are generated today. It's too simple for I don't know. You know what though? To be fair, in 1978, what really came before that? So like you have like all this other competition that has come in the last 40 years. But
what, like slasher was?
Slasher and everything else, just the genre, how it's morphed and it's changed over the years from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to the 80s. 70s you had Michael and you had Michael Myers and you had Jason. The 80s you started coming in, you had the Freddy Krueger and you had Child's Play, and then in the 90s
and Pinhead. I love Pinhead.
You gotta have another episode of that because that's one of my favorite franchises. Clive Barker is my hero.
I got a question for you, Chris, though, about that. Like, how many great horror movies don't really have like the typical story structure? A lot of them kind of take on an ensemble cast. That way, you're guessing who's gonna get killed, what's gonna happen. Like, a lot of it is more about being scary than like following characters change. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I totally agree. I feel like it's very hard because the more you focus on the character change and the character development, the the less you could focus on the tone and the gore and the scares and stuff like that. There's still, I mean, still today, 40 years later, they made Halloween 2018, so there's still a market for Michael Myers. But I don't, to answer you guys' question, if Michael Myers came out in 2020 and never existed before, I don't know if people would go for it. I don't think so. I think a lot of these old movies, like, were good for their time.
Mhm.
They're classics to me, but I'm saying I don't think that they're timeless stories that would be sold and made today in Hollywood.
Right.
They definitely would if they had a better storyline.
Well, they would have to change it. That's what even in 2007, the Rob Zombie version, they tried to give him motive. They tried to show the background. And like I said, that to me, in my personal opinion, that takes away from it being scary. It's interesting. I love the movie because it's just so authentic and ridiculous. Like, the dialogue is horrible. Every other word is a curse word. Sometimes it's a guilty pleasure. I love, it's entertaining. It's just an entertaining movie to me. The gore in it is great. I mean, he kills Danny Trejo. He drowns him in the fishbowl.
Hey, that's what
That's
Danny
one of
Trejo
the-
was like. I was
Oh
nice
my
to
God.
you. He kills him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, that scene is amazing.
and I mean, there's two different versions out there. There's the regular theatrical version, and then there's the Rob Zombie director's cut, which some scenes are more graphic in there. I don't want to get into like the really graphic one. There is a rape scene that's totally unnecessary in the director's cut. But in the theatrical cut, I actually saw the movie in the movie theater with my brother. I remember at the very end, Laurie holds the gun up to Michael, and they actually show she shoots the gun, shoots him. The blood splatters. She screams and cries, and the movie just ends. And I was just like left with this impression of like, holy shit! And I loved it. Sorry.
I don't know. I kind of like that fucking like bang horror movies over kind of stuff.
But you gotta like compare the Michaels. It's two completely different things.
Well-
One is the stalker Michael, where it's in the shadows, and like where is he gonna come from, and the music plays and like gets you, like, jolts you up when he comes out. This one is basically you're seeing him come right in front of the screen and just brutally kill somebody. So it's a different kind of horror.
Yeah, well, you're a lot more intimate with Michael in the 2007. You almost feel bad for him. That's why it's kind of a weird movie. It's like almost two movies. The first half is like Portrait of a Serial Killer, and then the second half is like Halloween.
What is your favorite scene from the original, and what is your favorite scene from the remake?
From the 2007 remake, I think my favorite scene, which I remember watching it, and I was just like, this is so sick, is when his sister is crawling out of the bedroom and she's just bleeding everywhere and he's just stabbing her. And he's a child with this huge Michael Myers mask on in the hallway. It just looks so sick to me. That was probably my favorite part.
That's funny, because like I always felt like he looked like a troll doll. When he had this big mask on, this little kid, it always looked like so weird. And I kind of wish, and I got to go back to like look at it exactly, but I always wish that they kind of framed him from the chest up kind of framing without showing his whole body, because it just looked like a small person with this Michael Myers mask, and it served no purpose in the story. It didn't really make any sense,
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed the kill scene of that.
No, I like when he bashes the boyfriend with the baseball bat.
Oh, with the bat, yeah, that was good too.
And I kept saying, like, turn around, you idiot! Like, come on, you could obviously leave this room right now, but it was cool.
Yeah. I like the first kill scene in the original when he kills his sister in the beginning. I think there's something so like just creepy about that.
Yeah, when like because he's got boobies.
Eyes?
Through the eyes, and she's just there. He just like murders, and then he just stands outside holding a knife, and his parents show up, and you're just like, this kid's fucked up. It just gets you right there. Like there's something wrong.
Let me ask you a quick question about that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all for framing, and it's a great scene to show that, like, they take the mask off and it's Michael, and the camera pulls back and it shows his two parents like looking at him. But how long in real life would they look at them? It's about 20 seconds of them just going Michael and just looking at him without doing any kind of reaction. It's good for the film, but I'm saying in real life, they should have made fun of that a little bit.
Nah, dude, in real life, because I think when I was like a baby, I was like 4 or 5. I took the butcher knife, went outside, and was like cutting the ground up, just fucking with it, because it's like a 4-year-old. My mom just ran outside and ripped it out of my hand. Was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" That's what they would do, because they don't know his sister's dead yet. They just showed up.
Yeah.
They would totally just walk over and pull a hand out of his hand. But, it's a movie. It's not – it's stylized. It's dramatic.
Stylized, correct.
It's meant to be dramatic, and that scene is dramatic because they're, like, in shock, you know? It kind of, like, draws this parallel to how they live in, this, like, perfect white picket community, and this kid's just possessed or whatever.
You know what I think what made it even more fucked up, too, is when you look at the kid that they actually picked for that scene, he looks like the sweetest boy, which I just felt like made it even more fucked up because it's just like, okay, this little sweet boy is the one that's going to turn into this massive fucking serial killer. Remake kid, anybody would think would be a murderer because that kid looked terrifying.
It just looks like a killer, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree with both of you guys. That didn't do it for me. It looked like it was almost like a girl at some points because of the long blonde hair, which is fine. I'm just saying that he didn't come across as this threatening killer. And like I said, it was entertaining. But like, if I'm gonna pick the movie and like say if it was like good or not, it's horrible. But it's good horrible because like, I enjoy it. So it's like The Room. You ever watch The Room with Tommy Wiseau?
Yeah,
I watched that about 500 times. I watch it when I have a writer's block, or I feel bad about myself, and I want to make myself feel better. I'll put The Room on. Same thing with Halloween. I watch this movie. I'll be like, this movie got made. But it does have good points to it. Like I said, it has that exploitation, shock value, and who's the sheriff? Brad Dourif is in that movie, and I think he's excellent as the sheriff. You also have Danielle Harris. She's playing Annie in this one, which is cool. It's a little bit of throwback instead of Jamie from Halloween 4. And I think she plays a great Annie, a superior Annie to the 1978 version. And I love the attempted kill on her life when Michael finds her. And I love the kill scene when he kills Laurie's foster parents. That's an amazing scene too. So it does have its perks. So we're coming.
What about Sherry Moon?
Sherry Moon? She's in every movie.
I'm a huge fan of her.
Did you ever meet her?
Yes, actually. I
You
met
did
her
meet
at
her.
a horror convention.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think
So, like, come on, you don't think that she's insane in like his other movies?
I actually felt sympathy for her in the Halloween movie. Believe it or not, I felt like she played like for what she was given the role as a white trash mother. I kind of did feel sympathy for her having like these kids and like trying to be good to her son and to the baby, even though she was with that piece of shit boyfriend.
I like her in everything.
Okay.
I like her in everything except for 3 from Hell because I didn't like.
Don't you dare talk about her from 3 from Hell. That was the best performance that she ever put on.
You think so? I liked Lords of Salem better. I thought she was good in that.
That wasn't bad either.
Come on, in 3 from Hell, she was literally insane. I was scared of her.
She was insane, but like, it's hard. I don't like that movie, so it's hard for me to,
Oh, you didn't enjoy the movie?
I didn't. Yeah, so it's hard for me to just say she's good because the movie wasn't good.
Did you think, and we're going to wrap this up soon, do you think that Rob Zombie did the Halloween franchise justice?
Well, he was actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but he had multiple interviews that he said that he absolutely fucking hated that he made Halloween 2. He actually said that that's like the worst movie ever. He's like, I don't even know why I even made it.
What about
Which,
Halloween?
honestly, the Halloween 2 he made was actually terrible. It really was terrible.
Oh, yeah, that was trash. I went to go see that by myself in the movie theaters.
I didn't watch it. Everyone told me it was terrible. I'm gonna watch it some
It's
point.
a waste of time. It really
Is it
It's
that
so
bad?
Yeah,
So bad.
it's so
Kinda
bad you gotta
ghosting
watch
and
it.
stuff.
He just screws it up. He just like any mythology or anything, he just says "fuck you" and that's it. You know. But
He got a lot of shit for it.
But do you think that the original that he did justice to the original movie Halloween when he remade 2007's Halloween?
I mean, I kind of like how he took a different take to it.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of cool that they didn't just try to redo it because
Right.
it was a reboot. So rather than just trying to like outdo the original, he's just like, let's just see a different take on it completely. He took the source material, like you were saying, a little bit more seriously, or literally. And I thought that was cool because I really do like the first half of the new one a lot better than the second half.
Do you like the first half of the remake better than the second half of the remake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's
it
more
kind
interesting.
of dives down after it gets to the.
Well, I mean,
miles.
I like the whole movie. So, you know, watching a 6'8" dude with a butcher knife off people is awesome. So,
Right.
yeah, that's cool. But, yeah, I mean, talk about it, dude. That guy who played him is ridiculous. He's so big.
Tyler Mane.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if the movie wasn't called Halloween, we would all like it more. You know, because it was so different than the original. But yeah,
Actually,
it definitely was.
They
That's a
could have
really good
used the
point right there.
babysit murderer. They
Huh?
could have used the babysit murders. That was the original title for Halloween.
Yeah, thank God that wasn't the name.
You know what? Yeah, real quick, fun fact is that the producer of Halloween, they wanted to get a different name, so they were looking at Halloween, and like nobody took that name. So like up until 1978, no movie was called Halloween before. So they took the rights to the name and they called it Halloween.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah, it's so crazy. You know what I wish they had now in the original Halloween? I wish they had more kids walking around with masks. I think that was like a budget thing.
Yes.
That's kind of the one
That's
thing I
something-
really think the movie should have had.
What, the original?
I agree with
about?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
original.
like I always said, like they should have did things like from the Halloween 3 into the original, like with kids trick or treating. They didn't really have that.
I think it was a budget thing because they only had 20 days to shoot it, you know?
Right.
It's like,
No, they had. If you go back to the movie, if you watch the original again, the trees are actually green because they shot it in a different.
They didn't shoot it during Halloween.
They shoot it during Halloween, so the trees are green. They're not like autumn trees.
yeah, you're right, actually.
Kind of interesting.
Now you think, I just watched it. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, so right before we wrap this up, I'm just going to ask you a last question. Are you guys excited for the new Halloween? They postponed it 1 year. So they had Halloween in 2018, and now they're going to have Halloween Kills. So are you guys excited that they're continuing the franchise with Laurie Strode and continuing with Jamie Lee Curtis after they've had multiple remakes, multiple sequels, and now we're here again with the same story from 40 years ago.
I was really upset that they had to push the date back because of what's going on. Because I was so excited
Me too.
for it.
You know, I was looking.
I feel like they have to continue with it because you can't just do what he did in 2018 and just stop. Like he's gotta finish what he started.
Well, they made the movie already. It's good. It's there.
No, I know. I'm saying like I like that he's only making Halloween Kills and then Halloween Ends. He's not making it into like 7 more movies.
I just real quick note on the Halloween movie that I didn't like about this 2018 version. One, my girlfriend didn't like is that Michael Myers killed a kid, which he never killed a kid, so he kind of broke that rule. If you go through any of the other sequels or the original, he never killed a child. He kills a child in this one. The second thing is, I feel like if we're going to go into the genre of horror in 2020, 2018, I felt like there should have been more consequence for Laurie Strode. I think that her daughter should have died as a result of all this shit that happened at the end of the movie. I feel like it would have been that much stronger stakes had she died and Michael took her with her. And now she had to like raise the granddaughter to be her own. Last thing I'm going to say about that movie, and then I'm going to end it. I thought they missed such a big opportunity. So when he comes into town, he has his mask back, he has his knife back, he's got his costume back. He already killed the woman with the hammer. That scene when he kills that woman in the hammer and he leaves the house. It was a perfect opportunity to have him walk down the street and like just get lost in the tons of people trick-or-treating. And they didn't do that. I don't know why they didn't do that scene, but it could have been like awesome. And like, where is this guy now? He could be in any house, anywhere. And like now I'm scared again. And they blew that missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm with you. They could really play with the idea of not knowing where he is in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like a lot. That's just scary.
They didn't have that in the 70s because they didn't have a crowd of kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, that takes just more money, more money and time to do that with that many extras and that many costumes.
Right.
But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I'd be more excited about the new one if I think they would do it like justice, but I don't know. I feel like they pull too many punches, like it's not going to be as bloody as I want. It's not going to be as scary as I want.
Right.
That kind of thing. But I'll watch it.
So last question around the bend, and that's it. 2007 or it's 1978? You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say 2007. Because I watch it more. I'm going to get killed for that, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Anthony?
It's always going to be 1978 for me.
Okay.
78.
78?
78.
All right. Thank you, Anthony and Rob. I want to thank you guys one more time for coming on the podcast. I look forward to doing a second podcast next week. If you guys like and subscribe to this channel, this is Pod from the Crypt. Please send us messages and let us know what movies you would like us to review next week. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.